Alright guys, so we've made it to episode 92 of Dragon Ball Super. This episode is called Emergency Development, The Incomplete 10 Members. Now, I just have to say, this was another good episode. This also did answer a couple questions about a couple things I had posed before, and I've seen some members of the community talk about. So overall, I was very pleased with this episode. Not to mention, this really got me thinking, of the entire Universal Survival arc, almost every episode has been incredibly strong. Outside of maybe the second episode with Goku and 17, and then the Master Roshi and Tien episode, those two were a little weak, but every other episode so far has been very strong. And the build-up is continuing for several different universes' fighters here, which is really making me think that this Tournament of Power is not going to be super quick. I've had fears that, we were going to have this long build-up, and then the Tournament of Power was going to be like 3 or 4 episodes, and it was going to be kind of a letdown. But I don't know. I almost get the feeling that the tournament might actually, be allowed to breathe a little bit. They're really not rushing through this, which was such a problem in the Future Trunks arc. So far, I'm very pleasantly surprised. So far, Dragon Ball Super has always dropped the ball at the 11th hour, though. So we'll see. Not until, Goku versus Jiren, is so hype can I finally, put my worries away and say, okay, this arc was hype. But we'll see. So the episode opens up with Goku arriving at Mr. Satan's house to see what's going on with Boo. And it is Fat Boo now. He's no longer Skinny Boo. So I figured that Skinny Boo was going to be just a one-time thing. Maybe in the future, if there's another reason for Boo to fight again, we might see it. But that was just kind of like I don't want to call it a red herring, but that was just something to get our attention for a little bit before we, moved on to get a lot of the other members. Now, one cool thing I like that they do here is Mr. Satan says that he's tried lots of things to wake up Majin Buu and none of it's worked. And he also mentions that usually Buu only needs to sleep for a second and he's good, which is important that they toss that line in here because that explains Majin Buu. In the Buu saga, we saw him go to sleep for 1 second and get up, and he was full of energy. And that kind of explains what happened during the Resurrection F arc where he was asleep, and what happened during the Universe 6 arc when he was asleep. So now we see there's kind of an explanation for this plot hole. One thing that does kind of confuse me about Dragon Ball Super is they've gone to such lengths to kind of cover up some plot holes or problems from Dragon Ball Z, yet they're not shy to create brand new problems. It's very bizarre. Now we see a quick scene where Topo recruits the general over in Universe 11. I was a little surprised. I thought that the general had agreed already to actually be like an official member of Team 11, but he hadn't, and he is officially recruited right here after saving the cat. The proverbial saving a cat from a tree is what the General Casserole did here. But Topo kind of explains that they have, some trainee Pride Troopers who will be, protecting the universe in the meantime while, the main big daddies, Topo and Jiren and Dispo and them are out, at the Tournament of Power itself. Now we see a quick flash of a scene where Mr. Satan then, declares, all right, I will be the 10th member. And I'm listening to him talk, and I'm like, yeah, Joseph Joestar, I love it. And, Mr. Satan is all, standing tall. The human race depends on me. And it's funny, because Goku's like, yeah, remember the Zen exhibition match? There's going to be guys probably stronger than that. Do you still want to join? And Mr. Satan's like, well, maybe next time. Then we go to Universe 3, where we meet two powerful warriors of Universe 3, Nigirishi and Narirama. Now, what's interesting is that the Universe 3 God of Destruction is kind of like a robotic, kind of looking God of Destruction here. And he definitely borrows some design elements from Lude from Dragon Ball GT, Moscow, the Universe 3 God of Destruction. Now, it looks like a lot of the fighters of Universe 3 are probably going to be like robotic or metallic in nature, but I'm not so sure. See, what's interesting is that they don't look that impressive. I should mention that Narirama definitely has some similarities to Robo from Chrono Trigger, I would say, which does make a lot of sense when you consider that Toriyama is the character designer for Chrono Trigger, but I believe it was Toyotaro who designed Moscow. But, I mean, looking at Narirama, I definitely see Robo in him, so that's cool. I really like that. But, okay, so I was confused at first. Well, not really confused, but I was wondering how many of the universes, like, everyone has been so excited, like, oh, we're gonna, have 70 new designed characters, it's gonna be so cool, and I've been very skeptical of that the whole time, that we were actually gonna get this full, brand new cast of characters for the Tournament of Power, and they're all gonna be fighting. I've been very sort of hesitant to just believe that's the case, and I'm noticing that in a lot of these universes, they're only showing us, several fighters. And what I'm being led to believe is that we're probably going to see just a bunch of, cocksuckers, a bunch of random jobbers from a lot of the universes who really are probably going to be wiped out incredibly quickly. And then we're going to be left with only a handful of fighters per universe. I think that's what we're really moving towards. I really hope I'm wrong. I want this to be a long, drawn-out battle. We've had a lot of build-up to this now. Literally, this has been a Dragon Ball Z, or, not Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball never had build-up this long. Well, no, it did, because, like, Goku and Piccolo's rematch at the last tournament in Dragon Ball, that was being built up for quite a while. But this is like, the build-up to the Cell games, where, Cell first mentions it to Trunks, and then it's another, 13, 14 episodes until the Cell games actually begins. And it's like, we're starting to creep on that territory here where the tournament has not even started yet. And it's interesting, too, with these two metallic warriors that they've got in the forefront, we do get a glimpse of several others who are being modified for the Tournament of Power. And we see the Robo-looking guy, he has claws that will allow him to dig into the ring so that he won't be able to fall out. We'll see how all of this works out once the tournament starts. I would say, though, that I am definitely excited to see Universe 3's participants. There's just a lot of things I'm now beginning to get very interested in, so I'm glad they've spent a good amount of time in other universes showing us stuff, rather than just focusing on Goku and the gang the entire time. The next thing that happens is Krillin and 18 actually arrive at Capsule Corporation to prepare, with everyone else to actually enter into the tournament itself. They bring Marin, and Marin goes with Trunks and Goten to go see Bra. And several things are also mentioned. They find out that Boo is asleep and might not be able to enter. And Piccolo says, well, if that's the case, we're just going to have to enter with 9 members. And the Kaioshin comes in, Shin, and he says, well, no, that's not going to work. If Zeno-sama says 10, then it's 10. And I liked this. This is just a hard, this is them telling the audience, don't worry, there is going to be 10 fighters for every team. I liked this, because I've heard several people mention it, and I've been inclined to agree with them. I thought that this was probably going to be the case, where not every universe was going to show up with their full 10 members, but now this line makes me believe, oh yeah, they're going to show up with 10 members, all right. So I was pretty pleased with that. After this, it kind of is revealed that, Krillin and 18 are there, the prize money, and then Tien is there for the prize money as well. And it's just kind of revealed that, Piccolo's like, prize money, and then quickly the lie is kind of dispelled that, there's not going to be any prize money, and everyone kind of learns that the universe is going to be destroyed if they lose. It's not about money at all. Now, right around this time, too, Vegeta actually exits the Room of Spirit and Time, and this is a very important scene for one particular reason. Now, Vegeta bursts out of the room in Super Saiyan Blue, but you see everyone sense him Now, I'm going to assume, he went Super Saiyan Blue, blew up the time chamber, but then he reverted back to base, and then that's when everyone was able to sense him. But the scene kind of plays out in a way where Vegeta goes full power Super Saiyan Blue, appears to destroy the Room of Spirit and Time again, and they sense that big surge of power. Obviously, I hope that's not what the show is implying, because remember, not everyone is able to sense that godly ki of Vegeta's. Piccolo, Krillin, Gohan, these guys aren't able to sense the god ki. So I hope what they were just saying is that they can sense Vegeta's ki once he went base form. But that didn't seem what that was there. Now, the other thing that is really important here is Vegeta exploding out of the time chamber like this means the time chamber is broken. Now, we've seen it's been fixed twice already, but there's only 3 hours left until the Tournament of Power. I don't believe they could, get the room fixed and then get Boo in there to wake him up before the hours are done. So this little throwaway scene right here is the explanation to why Boo can't be put in the time chamber to wake up, which a lot of people have suggested, which is a very good idea. This does seem like kind of just a real big excuse to toss out there as to why, Boo has to remain asleep, but at least they gave us a reason at all. I am pleased with that, definitely. Now, the next scene was really interesting to me. What they show us is they actually show us Kabe and Caulifla, and Kabe is trying to train Caulifla into using Super Saiyan. Now, we also do see Kale in the background kind of creeping on them, watching what's going on. And it seems as though Kabe gives us new info about the Super Saiyan transformation here, which is actually rather interesting. I was not expecting this. Now, Kabe explains how you have to have that, super powerful rage, that anger buildup to go Super Saiyan the first time. And Caulifla asks him, okay, so you're like that every single time you transform. And Kabe turns around and points to his back and says, no, once you're used to it, you focus your strength in your back right here. Now, this is interesting. We haven't heard this before. And when Caulifla is trying to transform into Super Saiyan right here, she's trying to do it. It focuses on her back, and we see kind of like this yellow buildup on her back that she's trying to expand and, turn her Super Saiyan, which I thought was really interesting. Now, it is funny because Kabe does kind of insult. He tries to insult her a little bit, but he's like saying it all meek and feeble, like, oh, dummy, you're a blockhead. And I love Caulifla. She's just like, what's that, motherfucker? Say it with your chest, bitch. And after that approach doesn't work, he just tells her to try and focus on that, tingly strength that she has. And, we see, it lasts about a minute where she tries to do it. We see the yellow energy kind of bursting on her back. She kind of gets a semi-transformation, similar to how, we saw this with Gohan in the Room of Spirit and Time. She almost gets it, reverts, but then she smiles and says, oh, I've got it now. And she does it, and then just boom, explodes, goes Super Saiyan, and she creates this really cool looking energy beam and fires it off and, just declares how strong she is. And even Kabe says, yeah, you're probably stronger than me. Then it's interesting because Caulifla asks, okay, so how do you reverse the transformation? And Kabe explains that you just release the tingly feeling in your back, and you see her do that, and the transformation disperses, and she goes back to base. Now, this was really interesting that we got this little info on Super Saiyans. We have never heard this before. This is something brand new. This is what I'm talking about, where they're going to great lengths to explain stuff from Dragon Ball Z, but in the process, they almost create brand new problems. Now, this didn't create any sort of problem that I'm aware of, but it's very weird that now you're going to explain the Super Saiyan transformation in more detail at this point when it's become borderline irrelevant. There must have been some reason for this. I don't know what it is right now, but I refuse to believe that this is just going to be throwaway dialogue here. There has to be some sort of, real reason that we're getting this. Now, Caulifla decides on the spot that she's going to join the Universe 6 Tournament of Power team, And she also mentions that Kale will be joining as well. And she calls Kale out from the shadows. And, she says that Kale is her protege and that they're going to begin training her to be a Super Saiyan now too. And she is a Saiyan. So the final scene of the episode is Goku arriving back at Capsule Corporation. All of the members are there except Master Roshi's still not back from his training with Poir, which is complete. And Android 17 has also not arrived there yet. But everyone else is there. They all confront Goku about the fact that not only is there going to be no prize money, but there also is going to be, the consequence of the universe being destroyed if they lose. Now, Goku promises that he can give money to everyone out of his own pocket. And it is great because Vegeta kind of just comes into the scene and he's like, doesn't Chi-Chi have that money? And Goku's like, well, Bulma can give it to everyone. And Bulma's like, what the fuck? Like, it was a funny scene right there. And Krillin does have a nice little, this was really weird. Krillin has like this little speech where like he's winning everyone over, like, come on, I'm not mad, you just needed to trust us and blah, 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 blah. He's like, come on, did you really think that I would be so scared to join the tournament if I found out about the consequences? And Goku's like, oh, so you're not scared? You'll join? And Krillin is like, hell nah! Like, that killed me! And even old Kai is like, yeah, that was almost moving. What a shame. Like, I died right there. And it is funny, Beerus flies in, gets his name wrong, calls him like Tyrian, and he's like, listen, motherfucker, you join, you use that quick thinking style of yours, and you win, you survive until the time runs out, or I'll Kai you right now. And he charges up a blast, that shit killed me. And Krillin is like, alright, I'll enter. I was like, what is going on here? After this, Bulma agrees to pay anyone who wants money for entering the Tournament of Power team. So Master Roshi, Tien, Android 18, Krillin, they're all going to get their share of money, the reward there. But Kaioshin mentions, all right, motherfuckers, we still have only got 9 people, and it's great, because Beerus comes in, and he's like, are you kidding me? This universe is ridiculously big, and every member of our team is from this little motherfucking planet? And I love it. He points to them all and he says, this is because you bastards destroyed the Frieza army. And I was like, okay, so that's where it comes from. And right there, Goku clasps his hand down, like a fist down on his hand, and it says, Beerus is right, Frieza. Frieza's gonna be the 10th person of the team. And the episode ends right there with everyone like, Frieza! And then the very last shot we see, the camera zooms in, we see Earth's hell, and there he is, the Emperor of the Universe, in his cocoon in Earth's hell. So, dun dun dun! Frieza is back. All the spoilers were correct. Next episode, Goku is gonna recruit Frieza. This shit is gonna be interesting. This week's episode was phenomenal. I cannot fucking wait until next week's episode.